Hi everybody, welcome to Aimee Nolte Music. If you're like me, lately you've been thinking a lot about Jacob Collier because he's pretty much every week coming out with a little something new for us to think about. There's a wonderful guy named June Lee, that's June Lee, and I'll put a link to his channel right here, who makes it a habit of transcribing and figuring out everything that Jacob does. So June is very helpful. And he gave Jacob one of the best interviews I've seen of him, where he actually asks him about the difficult concepts that he's been, sharing, and he asks him to break it down just a little more. There's a really cool part of his interview, and he's giving the interview very quickly. Jacob's like backstage at a gig or something. So he talks about it really fast, but June does a really nice job of putting up a little example with some written notes and trying to, let us get a handle on it. What June does not do in his video is actually teach you how to sing this particular concept that Jacob's talking about. The part of the interview that I'm talking about starts at about 10 minutes and 20 seconds, and it's where Jacob answers June's question about microtonal voice leading. What's a microtone in the first place? Do you know? It's in between the cracks on the piano. It's in between that. So if you sing the F sharp, and slide your way to a G, that space right in there, those are microtones. Right in there, that space that we can't really define. So that kind of troubles me. I think, how do we define it? How do we know which microtone we're singing? If you divide the tone into half, we can call it a quarter tone. There's a way. I have an app that I talked about in a previous video of mine. I talked about how to sing in tune using a tuning app. And this app actually gives us a clue about how to sing these microtones, or quarter tones, microtones. I'd like to show it to you. The app looks like this, and I love it because it's a pitch wheel. I play a D on the piano, and my piano was just tuned. You can see how it hops. I love it because you can sing these pitches and see, if you're right in tune or not. Da. That's a pretty good D, Amy. And then we do the C sharp, da, and then you can try. Can you see how there's little increments? How it's broken up like a clock or something? There's one that's halfway, and then there's two little ones between halfway and on the note itself. So I like that. You can try to put the needle right halfway between. So let's try the D again. And the C sharp. And now I'm going to aim for halfway between them. Pretty good. So Jacob calls that D half flat, I think. So it's not D flat, it's not D, it's D half flat. The example that he uses is of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. If we're in the key of C, yes we are. It's the part of the song that goes, they never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. And he said the harmony for that part, join in any reindeer games, is, you see those notes right there on the pitch wheel? G, F sharp, F, and E. So he says that if you're going to harmonize, join in any reindeer games with those notes we just talked about, he says you have this opportunity because you're going from G to E. And there are only two notes between this minor third here. He said it would be so much nicer if if you could break it up in a way that instead of having to play these notes a bunch of times, join in any reindeer games, you could actually divide the distance between these two notes, between the notes in this interval, exactly to add more notes and make it a more pleasing sound. So when he does this in his interview with June, he just busts it out. So he goes, instead of having to go, join in any reindeer games, you could go, join in any reindeer games, like that, something like that. He does it really fast, and what he's doing is singing in between the cracks. He's singing those microtones. So I was like, Jacob says it very fast. Let me play you that audio.
They never let Rudolph join in any reindeer games. That, like, one part could go, because what you're hearing is, join in any reindeer games. Is that? But what you could do is, join in any reindeer games.
So you put something between F sharp and...
Well, it's less that you put, it's not like G and then the chord 17 F sharp and G and then F sharp. It's more like you erase all idea of like notatable harmony, and you just think I'm in G and my destination is E, so I go ba da 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 da. You divide it equally up,
You divide it equally up. Somehow, Jacob is able to just do it right there on the spot and divide it equally up. I am not able to do that. So I got a little bit mathematical, and I made this little chart. So I've broken the chart up like this to show that we go from G to E, and we've got two real notes in between, F sharp and F. So it breaks the bar into thirds, right? 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. I've also added these little increments in the exact same way that they're done on this pitch wheel in the INS tuner app. So there's a halfway point, and then in between the note and the halfway point, or the quarter tone, are two increments like that. So these are broken up into thirds as well. When Jacob sings, he goes like this, join in, and that's on the G. And then he goes, any reindeer games, and games is on the E. So we've got any, rain, and deer. Those three have to fit in here exactly somewhere. Does that make sense? So, they don't exactly fit on these increments, but this is the way I've done it. So we've got join in right here, and we can write that. Then what we're going to do is count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and right halfway between that is any. Join in, any, right there. Now we're going to count another 4.5. So halfway between this is 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So any, rain is going to fall on the quarter tone. Rain, and then we're going to count another 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And it's right there. Deer. And then games is here. Make sense? So now we can actually see what he means by breaking it up evenly. He didn't say that. It's basically 2/3 of the way between G and F sharp, and then halfway between F sharp and F, and then 1/3 of the way between F and E, right? That breaks it up exactly even. So how do we go about singing those? And why would we want to? Well, gosh, he just told us why we would want to, because that's cool, right? Like, what if you're writing a choral arrangement for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? He put it in a tune. And this is not the only tune that, has this kind of descending harmony. We could think of a lot of tunes that do that. So if you're writing a harmony part, or just singing a harmony part, like, you could even be on the porch Christmas caroling this Christmas with your brother or your sister or your best friend, and you just add a little harmony part that goes along with Join in Any Reindeer Games, and you know what you did and nobody else does, because like Jacob said, the human ear doesn't really care how you get there and nobody's going to notice, but you'll know, and it'll be the smoothest way possible. Isn't that cool? So here we go with our pitch wheel. We've got to start on a G and be right in tune. There we go. And I'm going to play the E so that I know my target. La, la. And then any has to be here or here. 2/3 of the way between G and F sharp. The next one has to be right here between F sharp and F, and the next one has to be about here. Okay, so I'm going to try. You try with me. Here we go. Join in. There we go. Join in. We try again. Join in. I was a little flat on my E, but I kind of nailed the ones in between, didn't I? Again. Join in. That was good. Reindeer games. And I'm still a little flat. It's hard not to be flat. I'm going to try it in time. 2, 3, 4. Join in. I can't, because you have to check it. You can't do it in time. Join in. Join in. Join in. Games. There, that was pretty good. I'm so wobbly. But it's really hard to do. But it's also really fun to do. Jacob has fun ideas. So fun, thinking in the cracks of the piano. I love this app. I mean, it's a free app, and like nobody's paying me to say that, but I do like the way it's laid out like that, and you can see, you know, where your voice is exactly, and you can start to control your voice much more than you have ever practiced before. Not only are you practicing being in tune, you're pretty much practicing being out of tune and in tune with a whole new system or a whole new way of thinking. I think it's really fun. And I just wanted to try to, I mean, I can't bring clarity to many things that Jacob talks about. But this one, I thought of the app and I thought, yeah, I could do that. Like we can sing these notes in the cracks of the piano, microtonal singing right here. So anyway, thank you, Jacob, for your cool idea, and thank you guys for being here today. I'll see you next time on Aimee Nolte Music.